Alright, before the conversation's too stale, I did a little bit more with these ceilings for a person's consideration on making their decision. Because one of the things that occurred to me is that with either the stick-framed alternative or the cathedral alternative, either of those that puts a peak at the center of this, particularly over here at this wall, it might fight with a person's sensibilities if they're really symmetrically minded. Now we have this 5x5 table in here with the 3-foot minimum clearances, and you can already see it's not lining up with that peak, which really perhaps that's not that big a deal, but for some people it is. This is this table situated with the 3-foot clearance here, and you can see the center line is here. And so if a person's going to hang something up here that's going to be the centerpiece of this, that begins to argue with it. So it's something to think about. And when you move that table over to align with that peak, and there's even some argument with it being asymmetrical here too from side to side. But if you move the table to align with it, then you're down to 30 inches clearance, which people would have to squeeze back there when you have that 60-inch table in there. Situated like that, it's down to 30-inch clearance, which is really just get up and leave the seat, which means these seats here in the back are going to be difficult to get to. And if you turn your 4x5 that way and keep it lined up under that peak, then it works. You still have 3-foot clearance here, like this. So I began to mess around with that closet a little bit here. And now we have this peak and it's centered, but that's only with that table at 4 foot wide this way. And the 5 foot, it doesn't situate up this way, so you're going to be down to 30 inches with a 5 foot table situated like this. It does give you an opportunity for a much bigger closet. And this isn't hateful if that was enough space, but if you get away from that whole peaked ceiling, at least over this area here, at least over this dinette area and the laundry facility, what I'm proposing here is a flat ceiling over that laundry room and this dinette and the entry hall, so that then we don't have to worry about where the center of this becomes wherever it becomes. This was this big wide closet plan, and I kind of shrunk that back a little bit and moved the center line to there. There's your 48-inch table, and there's the 60-inch table with still nice clearance. So I actually kind of like a flat ceiling over that area for those reasons. And that's what I ended up drawing as the final permutation of that floor plan. Even with the 5 foot table, you still have you have over 3 foot clearance. And with it rotated, you have all sorts of clearance. You can actually walk past here almost with the serving tray with this sort of clearance here, which maybe that's how it's going to be set up most times anyway. So just some more things to consider with regard to that whole situation. Now, if that entry hall ceiling becomes flat like this, and particularly if we keep this transom window above whatever door system is down here, then that ceiling is up there, and so there are some things to consider with regard to this soffit and how we finish this. We could have a column all the way down here at the bottom of the steps, but it'd be so tall that I didn't do that, and what I did is just brought that down like this. And then inside that porch is the same situation, because we have that 9'1" ceiling here. It's going to come out flat, and then it's going to follow the roof slope down if this porch is just even kept that size, and if we're not going to change the pitch of this. And then that's the way I fixed this up, was an extra piece of 1x8 here, and then this is how they would finish the ceiling with some sort of J channel in each direction. And I just have siding up on top of that. And remember, from outside, that whole ceiling is down at that level. And On this side, there's going to be a little bit of difference because this side, that is built sitting back from the beam, but I guess it could be either way. I have that sitting back from the beam so that this corner board, this piece of corner trim, can come down and sit on top of that and not look goofy and hanging over it. But on this end, because we have this siding here, we have no choice. That needs to be flushed. And then our corner board just ends there with a piece of trim, J-channel there, trimming it into the beam. Now there will be its interface with this, unless you had some wide, which would, it wouldn't look right if these corner boards were wide. I'm showing them 3.5 inches wide. They're available 4 and 5 inches wide, but I just did it like this with trim around it, where that interface is there. And that ends up looking something like this, more or less. And then these are just a couple films of this flat ceiling in here and a stick framed ceiling over the main area. Immediately followed by the one with scissor trusses over it and an entirely flat ceiling over that whole area. Actually, this is going to be a rather exhaustive several films here, where I make several changes along the way, and those ceilings continue to vary between the 3 alternatives. And when I said exhaustive, I guess I really meant it. But at least you'll know why you decided one way or another. You'll be sick of one or the other of these by the time this is over, which is not long now. There are some upcoming changes really just to the windows in these next rotations, the windows and perhaps the closet. And the mood and flavor of this is going to change once we put in this chimney in the center of this. So I'll be sending you the catalogs today, and find some stone that you think you can live with, just so that that can be represented, so you have a feel for how that impacts these spaces. Probably we'll even have to look at it with these ceilings in place, some of these high ceilings, before that's all said and done, I suppose. But that's it for now. This will be the end of this film very shortly here, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you.